Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Vogue show. Look what came in the post today, ladies and gentlemen, on the 2nd of December 2020 at 8 o'clock this evening. It's my mate Richard Vobes, who's in the Bald Explorer. I don't know whether you've seen anything like it. It's a very nice bloke, bald, and has glasses, and is the Bald Explorer. This came, ladies and gentlemen, by post from Croatia, and what a lovely little thing it is. It's a shopping bag, but this particular shopping bag, not printed by Mass Corporate Productions, but by the only one and only Andrew Norris. I'll just show it to you one more time. Is a splendid example of pure and utter art. Isn't it amazing? Look at that, the loving drawing there of somebody's likeness, I'm not sure who, and the wonderful printed words as if stenciled and then painted on. It's amazing. Yes, lovely Andrew Norris, thank you so much. What a star you are for sending this to me, and that's very handy. And I'm going to probably hang it up somewhere in the studio as a lovely keepsake. By the way, if you would like to order 25 or more, I think Andrew will be a bit upset. But if you want to order one, I need to talk to Andrew about what we're doing about that, because I'm not too sure. But anyway, hello and welcome to the show. It's very nice to see you. To see you, very nice indeed. Thank you for coming on this Wednesday evening. Oh, and is it cold in the UK? Is it? Not in my house. I've got the fire going, which is nice. Oh, lovely and warm. Toasty warm. All good stuff. Let's find out who's out there in the Vobosphere. I should warn you, earlier today we had some buffering problems, and I'm hoping that we don't have any buffering problems in the studio today, but you never know, because I've restarted the internet, so I'm hoping. That's when I say restarted the internet, of course I do mean the whole internet. You may have noticed that every screen in your house went black for a moment and then suddenly powered back up, because in the cupboard just over there, out of view, Eric has the switch, the big switch. I mean, the big meaty switch on a big wall next to a huge, great big power dial. And when we move the lever up or down, it will depend on what that internet power zone is doing. And as we had to turn it off, and we had to wait 5, or was it 10 seconds, never quite remember, we had to wait for that. Everything seemed to go boo. Everybody's fridges, which would automatically tell them what little ingredients they need to restock, just stopped. And people weren't sure whether they needed more Brussels sprouts or cauliflower. It was very confusing. The traffic light system now, which usually operates by some internet connection, maybe some weird Wi-Fi thing, that ceased. There was gridlock in Worthing and in other towns, and it was a bit of a nightmare. But don't panic. After 10 seconds, we lifted up the switch and the internet restarted. But I cannot guarantee that there is not any buffering going on. So please let me know. So out there in the world of, let's find out. Let's have a gander with Miranda. Where is Miranda? Oh, Miranda's not with us, I'm afraid. She is without us. Ernie Samet is there with the lovely Julia. Andrew Norris is also there. Kerry Baldwin, Connor's Dark Corner. Audrey Forbes, of course. And Rasputin of Artington. Very nice to see you. And Merritt Genealogy from Down Under. Hello there, Vobanauts, he says, from Adelaide. Good day. Good clear morning, expecting 29 degrees C winds, liable to light to variable. Oh, nice. Call that a knife? That's not a knife. The Green Man is also there saying good evening, and Tall Podge from Guildford is there. Glastonbury Gabriel from Glastonbury, the lovely Julia from South Lancing, and Bob Figg from Essex. Nice to see you, Bob Figg from Essex. He's obviously, I've not seen you before, but it's lovely to have you here. Thank you very much. Angie Fenner from New Haven, which is great. Darren Howell from everywhere. And Peter Coombs from somewhere. And Robert Croser from up north. So, oh, hang on, more people are coming every moment. Who else have we got? Kate Evans, lovely to see you. She says, hi, how are you? I had 2 gerbils in my rescue centre today. Ah, isn't that, did they do the Great Escape? Da-dum, dun da da dum dum, yum bum 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 ba dum bum bum bum. You can imagine them getting away from their owners, burrowing out of the plastic. What? Actually, funny you should say that, because outside our house on the corner of, well, it's in the middle of the street actually, there was a hamster cage just on the street, just sitting there, completely bare of any sort of comforts that a hamster might require. It was just there. I think there was a wheel, but it was on its side, and I've got a feeling that must have had a couple of gerbils, and they've been da-dum, dum-dum, da-dum-dum, doing the Tom, Dick and Harry. I can see a piece of dirt across there. Ah! Donald Pleasant's impression. And I think they got away. Why do you suppose they've stopped us here? All turn round, massive. Richard Attenborough. Yes, the old Great Escape. That was a great film, wasn't it? Da-dum, dum-dum, da-dum-dum, dum-dum, dum-dum. Anyway, so they have escaped, ladies and gentlemen. Dave of Yore, he says, it's alive, it's alive. Tall Podge says, Rasputin, you're just up the road. That's nice. And Robert Croser says, that's the quote of the day, Kate. That's the quote of the day, Kate. What's the recipe today, Jim? Do you remember listening to Jimmy? What was his name? Jimmy, not Jimmy Hill, not Jimmy Edwards, not Jimmy Riddle. What was his name? Jimmy Young on the radio too. I used to like him. Clive Waterfall's here. Ben Reeve is here. Elaine Whitelock is also here, which is fantastic. Mother Nature also around. Andrew Murphy. Hello, Andrew. Paul Cockrell and Station Master's Choice, plus a number of other people who are tuning in. And my phone just blipped. I'm not quite sure why. Nothing to do with me. Sometimes I get urgent messages from the PM, like, please stop broadcasting, I'm giving a talk at Downing Street. Well, he did give a talk earlier, actually, at Downing Street. Sorry, itchy eye on the old one-eyed Kalubi. Tim Williams, Jimmy Clitheroe, any other Jimmys you know from the stage? Jimmy Riddle. I said Jimmy Riddle. Jimmy, you could have James, I suppose. Jimmy Young, that was the one I was thinking of. I'm near Peasmarsh, near the Creme. It's always nice, isn't it? And where do you live? Oh, I live near the Creme. We get free heating, but only on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Ash Wednesday, nothing. Anyway, I was going to talk, we're talking about culture in this period of time at the moment as we get towards the end of 2020. And 2020 has been a time of culture. All sorts of culture. By the way, congratulations must go to the scientists who have been the first in the race to get the vaccine out. Will you be lining up? Oh, God. I tell you what, I'm a bit nervous about having the vaccine because they keep it at minus 70 something and they can't let it warm up. So I'm just wondering, have they thought about when they stick it into your arm, will it still be at minus 70? And will that not just freeze your whole arm so that when you go out, when you go out and you always bang into the side of the door, don't you? The old architrave. You always bang into. Will your arm be so frozen it'll just drop to the floor? I have a sneaky, horrible feeling that they hadn't actually given that a lot of thought. That they probably have to thaw it out. But by the time it's thawed out, like Thora Heard. Have you heard of Thora? Into the arm. It'll be, gosh, that will be painful. So I'm not sure that I shall be very much first in the queue. Maybe at the back of the queue, you can imagine people going, no, you go, no, please, you go in front of me, get to the back. By the time it gets to you, your go, the old syringe and needle and capsule and everything will be a bit warmer, what I would hope. And actually, anyway, don't despair because they'll be doing this in the spring. We've got to wait till the spring for the ordinary hoi polloi manage to get it, which will be fine because I will insist that I have mine outside in the nice morning spring sunshine. Then they can warm it up and do it like that, unless I have to put it in a microwave. I wonder what happens if you put something that's minus 70 into a microwave. Can a microwave cope? Would it just be too much? Would you find that the electricity in your house is just overwhelmed? You can imagine that, can't you? The electricity coming into the microphone, not the microphone, that's the microphone. The microscope, no, not the microscope. What did I say? The microwave, you know, the titchy wave thing. And it's just overwhelmed as the electricity comes in, going, oh gosh, oh no, I can't, oh, it's just too much, oh, I'm overwhelmed. You can imagine electricity being a little weak and feeble at that. And the others would be saying, what is the matter with you? Volt in there, mate. Volt in there. Charge forward. Are you refusing to go? Oh dear, I've seen 3 pins better than you. Get in there, you little piece of electricity. What else have we got here? Jimmy Durante. Yes, Jimmy Durante. He was good. Jimmy Edwards. Thank you. Schnozzle. Jimmy Schnozzle. I don't know him. Professor Jimmy Edwards. Remember when Wacko? Are you old enough to remember Wacko? Woohoo! I'm not. Jimmy Knee Cricket. Jimmy Knee Cricket. How about that? Vaccine, says Mike Stevens, picking up on the vaccine front. In a few weeks, yes, Brexit takes 4 years. What a shower. It's true, isn't it? Brexit takes 4 years, but the vaccine takes 4 minutes. It just happens to coincide. It's funny how it coincided. I have to say, I mean, one can laugh and think of these things. It's like, out of lockdown. Oh, we got the vaccine. What? Hang on a minute. We've just got out of it. Yeah, you're going into tier 3. What? No, but don't worry. We got the vaccine. Oh, sorry. What tier did you say? Never mind that. We got a vaccine. Yes? Want it in the arm? No. It's a bit cold, isn't it? Well, it is a bit cold. Yes. Sorry about that. We're all wearing massive, great big warming suits and have hot water bottles strapped to our chest. But you, my friend, have got to strip down to your little nether regions, for we are going to insert this in your rear. Bend over. Oh! That could be a slight worry. What else have we got there? Audrey Forbes Hamilton says Jimmy Nail. Yes, Jimmy Nail. He was a carpenter, wasn't he? Just like Jesus' dad. And Station Master Choice. I don't know where these... Please, ignore everything I say. I just open my mouth and the brain has a free rein. So I do apologise. Don't get offended. Station Master's Choice says, Beaker, something you forgot to try. Put this very cold item into a microwave and turn on and stand back. Yes, from, what was that? That was the Muppets, wasn't it? Jimi Hendrix. Yes, Jimi Hendrix. He was a guitarist, wasn't he? I believe that he worked with... Who was that other? James Galway. Oh, no, he was the flutist. Who was the other guitarist that used to do the Spanish music quite a lot of? Catalonia or whatever it was called. The Deer Hunter. Didn't he do Deer Hunter, Jimi Hendrix? He did the here... Ding, ding, ding. How does the deer hunter? Ding. I can't remember how it goes, but it's a very sensitive piece. No, that was the Spanish one. Jose, you know how the Spanish sort of get something in their throat. Kerry Baldwin says it's the choice between being slightly affected by conspiracy theories and the overwhelming chance of being let out after 10 months of shielding and having it. That's true. Has anybody, I'd be very interested to know this, has anybody actually this morning at midnight or 1 minute past or whatever it was gone, yay, out of lockdown, and gone charging somewhere just for the fun of it? Did anybody go into a shop today, a corner shop, or a small independent shop that has had its doors shut for so long? I was filming in Rustington today, and I can tell you it was lovely to see all the little shops open. It was almost like normal, and the streets were thronging. You wouldn't think that there was a lockdown. I never thought there was a lockdown when lockdown was here, but it was even more rejuvenating. I kind of get the impression that there is the government and all the ministers standing there in front of the TV cameras going, oh yes, you mustn't do this and you mustn't do that, don't hug a granny, don't kiss a stranger, don't have sex with anybody you don't know or underage or above your nose, don't do this and don't dilly-dally and mustn't do that. And you kind of, I just sort of feel that there they are doing all that. And if you could just sort of move the camera over here, you'd see real life just going on, people doing their thing, and they're just talking to nobody. I mean, there might be like a few people. It's like one of those very bad sort of preachers that you got in, what was the one in The Life of Brian? You know, there they are. And there's like three miserable old people with very long beards who are half asleep listening to the preacher. And I feel like that's a bit like what Boris is at the moment. He's giving out, oh, no, you mustn't do this. But if you move the camera down the other end to where Brian is, and where the other preachers are, you lucky bastard. That's where everybody is. It's like, yeah, they used to govern us, I think. They used to tell us what to do, but we don't listen to that nonsense. There's a few followers to that religion over there, but the rest of us are free thinkers, and we just get on. We just don't bother them anymore now. We throw a little bit of cash at the government, say, oh yes, Mr. Borry, no, Mr. Borry. Anyway, I've got to go. I've got something to do, like have a life. Linda Kane is here. Santana. What does Santana? Jimmy Santana. I don't know that. That's a bank, isn't it? Ron Langley says, are some people going to wish they never had the vaccine? That's very true. I'm certainly not having the vaccine because I'm not in the criteria that needs to have it. I'm not actually over 80. I know some people think that I look and appear and behave like I'm over 80. That's true. But technically on my birth certificate, which says 1936... No, wait a minute. I can't say that because I would be over 80. That means I don't have to have it. Fortunately, so far, it's not mandatory. Although, through the back door, you know what I mean? Through the cat flap, it may well be that you'll have to keep showing things like certificates to say you've had... Perhaps if you get the cold shoulder from somebody, they've had the vaccine because... Oh, it's very icy in there. Station Master's Choice is saying thank you to Audrey, which is nice. Catatina, by John Williams. Thank you very much. Yes, of course, I've got to remember that this is, there's a slight delay between me opening my gob, my memory remembering what my gob has just said and thinking, blimey, should you have said that? And then you lot listening to it, interpreting and thinking, am I watching the right show? There is a gap between all that. Mind the gap. Michael White says the vaccine has never been used before. RNA vaccines change your DNA. Well, as long as they don't change my dinner, I'll be all right. Well, that is a true. I know they say it's all fine, and I'm sure it is fine. I'm sure it's fine, but I just would like to see a few other people. Don't worry, there's plenty of guinea pigs out there, aren't they? They're going to be giving it to those people who really haven't got very long to live because they're over 80 and the average age is about 81. So they'll give it to people who are likely to die fairly soon anyway. And within 6 months or a year or 2 years, possibly 3, maybe 5, who knows, they will die. And I wonder whether you'll be able to actually gauge whether it's worked for them or not. Did it prolong their life, hasten their life? How will you know? How will you know unless you take all these over 80-year-olds who have it first and go, let's just chuck them in with a bunch of students at a university camp? If they don't die from COVID, they'll probably die from a little bit of smoking, too much sex, late nights, all the sort of stuff that students get up to on a regular basis. And good for them. We all like a bit of that, wouldn't we? Well, not maybe all of us, of course. Station Master's Choice says, what did the Romans do for us? Well, the Romans, if I remember rightly, did quite a bit in the 400 years they were here, but I'm not prepared to list them in case I get something technically wrong. Linda Kane says, which one? Which Roman? Yes, there was a lot of them. Michael White says, look it up. Andrew Norris says, if I want to come over to Blighty, I might have to have it. That is the back door, isn't it? That is the through the window, and we're very carefully monitoring who comes in. But maybe they won't do that. Maybe if people say, that's suspicious of it, and they say, well, we're not going. I just do wonder whether the airplane people, the flying mob, whether if enough people were to say, actually, we're not doing it, and they're desperate for you to pay money to go on their plane. They're desperate because the industry is nose diving down, to use a metaphor that's associated with the subject I'm just talking about. They're nose diving down into a crash landing, and they're desperate to keep their planes in the air. So if they then start saying, well, you can't come on our planes unless you have one of them, and then find that only 5 people turn up and they're all over 80 and they need wheelchairs and they can't get on and they need special needs and all the rest of it, they'll be going, nope, maybe we should just let everybody else on. Maybe it won't work, because if it's only the over 80s and the people working to look after them who are now allowed to go anywhere and do anything, I can't imagine that these over 80s will be down the gym or down the pub every night or down the downtown. Peculiar Clark used to like her. Less dangerous, maybe cynical, says Linda Kane. Julie M says, hello, Richard. Late to the party tonight. Oh, I hope you've had a vaccine. We won't let you in unless you've had the vaccine. You know, if you've got a nice cold arm, we'll know you've done it. Jimmy Roman, says Dave of Yore. Is that another Jimmy? We're trying to name as many Jimmys. Jim Davison is another one, actually, just suddenly come to my head. Jimmy, give me the Jimmy. Jemmy, no, that's a Jemmy, not a Jimmy. Jimmy, yeah. What else we got? I'm just glancing down here. I wonder if the celebrities and politicians will take the vaccine, says Mike. That would be good. You know how the celebrities love to muscle in, don't they? They muscle in on every cause. Oh, I haven't worked for 20 years. Get me on that. I'll say something about whether it be, I don't know, Black Lives Matter or the other one, you know, the Doom Merchants of Hell, run by the little Doom Goblin, whatever her name is, you know, the little girl with autism or whatever she's got. Can't remember the Extinction Rebellion, that mob. You know, the celebs love to get involved in all of that, don't they? Get me in front of a camera, I'll say whatever you like, just get me, as long as it's as far left as you can have it, and I'll be there to make sure I can say, you know, my little piece, because obviously I'm an actor and I've been in films, so I'm an authority on COVID and the vaccination process. So, you know, I once was in a film where I played a doctor, so I clearly know all about it. I bet you they'll be saying, oh, yes, I've had the vaccine and I'm okay. You can imagine them. All the Hollywood stars will be going in. They won't be able to get to the Oscars if they haven't had a vaccine. In fact, the Oscars will have the statue, the golden statue of the Oscar with a great big syringe sticking out of its arse, just to prove that it's actually had the vaccine. And they'll be going, and the winner of the best actress of the award goes to Tansy Tudor. And she'll come up going, oh, I'm so overwhelmed and I've won it again. Gosh, for all that left-wing stuff and rubbish that I was talking about. And I'm the right-coloured skin, and I support the warming of the world and everything. And, of course, I've had a vaccine, so that's why I'm perfectly okay. I would have had some of that lovely mad cow disease if I could. And I am so pleased to have won the special award for Best Sound Effect Department. Yes, of course. We may well be able to tell who's had the vaccine, of course, if they all start walking funny, can't stand upright or lean to one side like a pendulum. We never know. But it will be interesting to watch. I'm fascinated to see how many of the people who on things like Twitter who will have changed their little avatar to say to a picture of a syringe or a bottle or whatever it is, or I've had the vaccine. You know, that'll be the virtue signalling will be so interesting to watch. Who will be the first of those rich and famous people who have obviously opened their doors to all the migrants that are desperate to come in, all those people who are lounging about their houses that they love to have in their houses so much, whilst they're drinking pure water and have no plastic items whatsoever in case it pollutes the world or gives us climate change, driving about in their electric cars. I'm not going to get an electric car. I'm going to get a clockwork one. I think it would be much more fun to have a clockwork. Why have we not invested in clockwork instead of electric? Because electric's got to be powered by something. But clockwork is a much easier and much simpler and much less, we could just employ men and women and children, even underage children about 3, to turn great big keys. That would be the answer, would it not? Clockwork. And if you could make a clockwork mechanism, I'm sure it would be possible to get 300 miles out of a clockwork car. That would be so... How neat would that be? You'd think all those lovely old clock repairers who are going out of business because everyone's gone digital would have a job. We're giving them a job. What about on the trains? If we've got to have HS2 and have all our forests ruined, why bother having electric when we could have clockwork trains? We could have some of the original Hornby trains. There must be plenty of people who deal with clock. Anyway, that was a side issue. So what have we got? Just Jimmy by Richard Crompton, another series by Just William, says Mike Stevens. That's good. Jimmy Shand, that's another one. Jimmy Cranky. Why didn't I think of Jimmy Cranky? That's brilliant. How's about that then? Now then. Very busy man. We can't really mention him, obviously, because we'll be taken off the air, although the BBC promoted him whilst they knew exactly what was going on. Jimmy Cricket, that's another one. It's Sep Up Dame Tansy Tutar. Yes, Tansy Tutar. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Tansy Tutar. Yes, I'm so pleased. Or a bike dynamo car, says Mike Stevenson. We have a phone call, ladies and gentlemen. Let's find out who it is interrupting the show. It's probably HSRM or whatever they called. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you for letting me join you. Not HSRM, but HA, Henry's Adventures.
Henry's Adventures. They're all the way from up north somewhere.
Well, actually back in Buckinghamshire. So north of you. But...
Yeah, north of me, but in Buckinghamshire. Buck your ideas up. That's great.
Yeah, I don't live in Leek anymore. I still work for a company based in Leek, but I live in Buckinghamshire.
It's lovely in Buckinghamshire.
Yes. No, well, actually today I've been in Hertfordshire. I was going to say I've been out for a walk most days of the lockdown in Buckinghamshire.
Now, wait now, hang on a minute. Was Buckinghamshire and Hertfordshire, are they in the same tiers?
No, yeah, they are. They're both in tier 2.
How do you know? How do you know? Are you sure? Because you may have walked into a whole COVID cohort of people who are dropping down dead with potential syringes in their arms or buttocks.
I didn't see any of that.
But, good. I'm very pleased.
Talking about how we know, the other day I was in Great Missington, one of the Buckinghamshire smaller towns, or actually I think it's a large village. And I went to the railway station, not actually to look at trains, but to get a coffee. And I picked up a copy of the Metro, and there was a great big map on the front of the whole of England. And it had all, which areas are in tier. So obviously tier 1 is just Cornwall and the Isle of Wight. Yeah. Most of where, the south is in tier 2, except Kent and Slough. So I've got Slough just up the road, but I don't go there very often. I drive through occasionally.
Isn't it funny how Slough? Why Slough? It's poor old Slough, or Slough as some people call it. Why is Slough just like surrounded by tier 1s?
It's a
twos. Sorry, tier 2.
It's a very sort of densely populated town.
Yeah, imagine if Thunderbirds were still being produced there. Bum, ba-da-dum. They wouldn't be able to take off and go. Can you imagine it? Calling international rescue, and then up in space, there's John in the space station. I hope Nigel Sadler's watching. Dun, 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 calling international rescue. We're down a well and it's caving in, and the great big sidewinder's coming to get us. I'm ever so sorry. We're in tier 3. You're in tier 2. We can't come and rescue you. Oh, that Brains. Poor old Brains would be there in the laboratory. I hope you remember.
We'd be probably making the vaccine.
That's what I was going to say, yeah, making it. Gee, Mr. Tracy.
I'd probably rather have one made by him than I would this one. A bit like you, I'm a bit sceptical whether I really need to take it. I'm thinking, well, I'm quite healthy as it is. Do I need to take something that, in 5 years' time we don't know what's going to happen.
No,
So,
exactly. I think it would be far better to have puppets making them than. Well, I'm not that. Actually, what the thing is, I'm not saying that the scientists or anything else have not done a brilliant job. And please don't.
No.
We're not saying that. It's just, and although they say, well, actually, that we haven't cut any corners, the one corner they have cut, which they can't get round, is normally they have a much longer period before it's released, and they can see. No one's actually been tested with this for 2-3 years. They've only been tested for 2-3 weeks or months.
No, so I'm thinking, if in, say, 5 years' time it seems everyone who's had it seems all right, then I might consider it. But, at the moment, I personally think I'm healthy enough.
Well, you're young. You're very young anyway.
Yeah.
You're younger than me. Yeah, don't laugh. But I mean, you're even if you were to get it, you're not going to snuff it. And actually, by the time we only need 60% of the population to have the vaccine, then it doesn't really matter because you've got herd immunity then.
Well, it seemed that's what happened over the summer. There was a bit of a herd immunity up to it, but So it's funny just then. My dad just walked into the room and he was trying to see your lips moving, realising it's not in sync.
No.
On the computer, you're about 30 seconds behind.
I know. It's a mistake that a lot of people, because they don't understand how it number crunches and sends it down the wire, and then it's got to be fact checked. And it's check and trace on the signal, making sure, and then there's an injection process before it's sent to your screen.
Yeah, well, I'm safe, so I can't infect any of your listeners.
No, well, that's great. So, are you still able to work, or what's?
I will be. Yeah, well, when there's work to do.
Yeah, because you're in the travel industry, aren't you?
Yeah, So I'm just waiting really to find out what's happening, but no doubt next year, if things do go back to normal, I think and hope the travel industry does quite well because everyone will want to, get out and.
Oh my God, won't they? Won't they? I think. I mean, the whole industry will be just itching to get out. But part of getting out is going not only to another place, but sitting in a bar somewhere and absorbing the atmosphere. Well, I'm just hoping that we're not going to kill the hospitality industry stone dead, because there'll be, apart from seeing nice scenery and things like that, most people do want to go out to eat when they go away, sample different foods and different styles and be waited on. They're treating themselves. They might have a drink and all those things. But the way the government has decided to do this is that you won't have that. You'll just turn up somewhere and go, well, what should we do this evening?
Yeah, it's a bit. Well, I mean, the tours I've taken. I did one in September up to Fort William in Scotland, and I did one a couple of weeks later to Derby. And both the tours, breakfast and dinner, was included, and it was quite funny that everyone had to sit at their own table. So we were in a room, and everyone was sat. If there was a husband and wife on the tour, then they would sit at a table together. But it was still sociable. You could still talk to people.
You had megaphones on there, did you? Little megaphones going.
Hello, table. Trevor, remember me? I sat at the other end of the bus and we shouted. Yeah, remember me? I'm having a boiled egg. What are you having? What, Trevor?
It was a little bit like that. People were kind of, there'd be 2 or 3 conversations, crisscrossing the room sort of thing. And there was one, the way it worked at the second one man ended up in the middle of the room because they sort of put tables around the edge. It was quite funny, this man sitting in the middle who sort of must have sort of intercepted just about every conversation that went across the room.
He was probably a Daily Mail reporter.
Yeah, he might have been.
How I think, just working out, or one of, because during the Second World War, they had the what would they? I forget what they were called, the mass observers or something, weren't they? There was Nigel Sadler would know this again. Where is he when you want him? mass observation, I think they were called. And it was a unit that was set up to find out from people how they were coping during the war and what they were doing. And people had diaries that they had to fill in. And you can read these diaries. You can read them now. You can download them and read them. And because I was doing a project about I was going to do a project about the Battle of Britain and all of that was going on this year. Glad I never bothered with that.
It might have been.
Well, you know, what with all the connotation stuff. Anyway, there was this mass observation corps, and I'm surprised that that's not a thing now. That there probably is. There probably is all these things being filtered into the government, but for some reason they don't seem to be listening to a lot of ordinary people like you and me who have concerns. They just seem to they've got concerns, but we'll brush them aside. We're doing this and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it seems like it doesn't matter what you say. You know, it's kind of, you must wear your mask on a train. You must do this. You must do that. I haven't been on a train since this second lockdown, but you know, it's kind of. Personally, I'd rather go on a train and wear a mask and not go on the train, but it kind of takes a bit of the enjoyment out of it.
Yes, I of course, there's people that will vehemently tell you to wear a mask. I mean, I did go into a supermarket. I won't name it. I was in a supermarket, and recently I just found it much over time. This whole breathing in your own oxygen and stuff, I found it more and more uncomfortable the more I do it. And so ultimately I've been, you know, the mask has hung down here. It's got lower and lower until eventually I just thought, this is ridiculous. What's the point? I may as well take it off. And I occasionally I do take it off completely. I've got nothing to pass on. Blimey, I meet hundreds of people every day. How would I catch it? And then this young bloke with his mate, for a laugh, you could tell it was a laugh because of his intonation. He just sort of came up to me and says, "Can I ask you to wear your mask?" No, he said, "Can you wear your mask, please?" And
Did he work there, or?
No, he's just an ordinary member of the public. Him and his mate.
You might have had a disability, you know.
Well, exactly. He said, "Can you wear your mask, please?" And I looked at him and I said, "Yes, I can." "But you mean, will I wear the mask?" And no, I won't.
I'd have said to him, "Well, I'll put it back on, but you'll have to give me £25."
Well, he was stumped because I said, no. He said, "Well, why not?" I said, "I've just got a breathing problem."
Yeah, well, that's
and what do they say? Because you don't have to tell them, and you don't have to show anything. And
no.
So, you know, and in the end, he just went, "Well, I saw you with one when you came in." And I said, "Yes," and it was bloody irritating. That's why I've taken it off.
Well, it doesn't mean, you know, someone could be exempt and they might choose to wear it anyway just to avoid the hassle. Say if they've got breathing problems, then they find their breathing is getting too difficult, so then they take it off.
Yes, I mean, it's all because it's so difficult to prove what is a breathing problem. You know, if you've got a medical,
you could say it causes you anxiety.
Yeah, and it was. I was becoming more aware of it, and it was just bothersome. Now, to me, that's something. It's bothersome. You know, somebody else might say, "Oh, don't be a wuss, Richard." It's like, well, okay, I won't be a wuss if I take it off. So that was that. Let's just have a quick look at. Stay there because I'm going to have a look at the comments whilst you're there. Michael White says something about Celeste.
Upsetting people by before you find all the mask wearers are in the comments, or are they all?
I don't know. This is the dangers. You know, I say something, then you look at the comments, and people are ready to sort of bludgeon you over the head. Linda Kane says, not really. They're very nice. Luckily, my viewers. Swine flu in 1976, which was rushed out in 18 months. Some people ended up with Guillain-Barré syndrome. Not nice. I don't know what Guillain-Barré syndrome is, but it sounds awful. Yes, I'm not going to. See, that's not. I'm going to have. You shouldn't be forced to have it. Imagine if we were in a society where they forced you, they lined you up and forced. I mean, that would be a totalitarian dictatorship.
I don't think we'd go that far. I'd like to think we wouldn't go that far.
I'm just wondering.
Going a bit the way I don't like, but yeah, hopefully not that far.
So just imagine, there you are. You're a dementia patient, or you're old and frail. And suddenly one day, you know, you're just watching the telly and there's Home Under the Hammer or What's in the Attic or whatever they put on. and everything's very normal. And then comes a woman that sings old songs that you've sung so many times, and you'd wish you'd go away and stop singing these bloody old songs. You'd rather put on Dua Lipa or something, but no, we have to keep having these old songs from the sort of, the hit parade of the 30s. And then suddenly there's, a bit of a kerfuffle, and these people start coming, nurses come in, there's a tank outside the door delivering a great big load of stuff, and these people come in, and then the next minute you're being jostled in a line, and the carer is coming by rolling up your sleeve, and you're thinking, hello, what's this about? Slightly confused. I wonder whether they will be allowed in a nursing home to say, no, I don't want it.
I suppose it would be up to the next of kin, wouldn't it?
Well, if you don't, see, this is the thing, if you do not have what's it called? And I had one for my dad, but if you don't have what is it called? The thing that tells, it's the legal document.
Power of attorney.
Power of attorney. If you don't have the power of attorney for the medical side of your person, your elderly relative, and they're in a care home, you have no say if they want to stick bleach into their arm or arsenic. You have no say. They'll do whatever they want. You can't stop them. You can go to a tribunal, but it takes months, at which point your parent is dead. So I wonder what would happen, though, because if you're in that care home, and there you are, and you may have enough contus mentis in the dementia people probably haven't got anything. They've got no chance. They're going to have it come what may. But you may say, do you know, I don't want it. And then what will happen? The manager will say, well, if you don't have it, you'll have to move out, because we've got to have everybody with this vaccine. And that is going to be an issue that I think there'll be people kicked out as soon as look at you.
Yeah, I mean, that would be awkward. My grandmother's in a care home now, so it's a bit awkward. I've been to see her once, but they were allowing us to go and visit her through the window.
You can't go and visit her.
Luckily, she's got a downstairs room. Otherwise, I don't know whether they'd have allowed us to put a ladder.
Shimmy up the drain pipe.
Hello, Gran. Well, yeah, I can't hold on much longer. He's going, Granny. I can't.
So no, I don't know what they did with the relatives of the residents who had an upstairs window, but
they'd have to get one of those cherry pickers. Imagine turning up to a care home and say, "I'd like to see my." Well, how can you? We only allow if you're on the ground floor. Don't worry, I've got a cherry picker. You turn up in the back garden, churning up.
A window. Someone could say, "Oh well, I'll clean your windows for you for free," and then I can.
Yeah, see your granny. Hello, Granny. Yeah. It's me.
Oh, my goodness, it's Uncle John. Hello, Uncle... No, it's me. It's Henry. Oh, it's Bryony. Hello, Brian.
No, it's me, Granny. Don't you recognise me?
It's been a long time, dear.
Oh, she would, yeah.
Oh, she'll be with you. I'm just... Well, I'll just make it. Could have been anybody.
There was... talking of window cleaners, I don't know if you might find this amusing. I think I might have written in the comments once, but there was a time one day... One summer's day, I was at home. It was just my partner and I in the house. There was one bedroom window out the back, and up the side of my road, up the side of my house, there's a road. And I went downstairs to make a cup of tea, and I looked in the garden. There were two men in the back garden putting a ladder up against the one open window. So I shouted to her, "Go and shut that window. I'm going to call the police. We're being burgled." So I got on the phone to the police, and I said, "There's burglars. They're here, and they're in the back garden. They're putting a ladder up." And then they said, "All right, we'll come round, just keep an eye on them." So I went to the front door, and they were running into the front garden. So I opened the door and shouted to them, "You're not getting away. The police are coming." And they went, "Oh, we're window cleaners, mate." I said to them, "I don't believe you." I said, "You're not." And they said, "Well, come and have a look at our list." And I said, "No, I'm not coming anywhere near you." And just as they said that, my mother and my sister pulled into the drive and thought, "Who's Henry arguing with, these two men?" And then a police car pulled up, and turned out they actually were window cleaners, but on the other side of the village, there's a road with a very similar name, and they've got the right house number and
the wrong road.
And actually, what they'd done, they'd cleaned all the windows out the front of the house. And yet they'd just gone round to do the back when I saw them. So we did get half the house windows cleaned for free, which was... But I thought, well, I said to the police, though, the police said, yeah, don't worry, you did the right thing. I said, if only they could have just... If they'd, knocked on the door...
Yeah.
This wouldn't have happened, because I'd have told them, no, you're at the wrong house. Or if I'd caught them cleaning the windows, I would have said to them, that's very kind of you, but we didn't order you, so, I think you're at the wrong place. But it was just... My first vision of them was them putting a ladder up against the one open window out the back. What was I supposed to think? So,
well, yeah, and imagine if they were burglars. If they had been burglars, they would have been very...
I don't think they'd have hung around so quickly. I think they'd have made an easy...
Very brazen, wouldn't it have been? But you hear of burglaries where people are in, they just put on a high-vis jacket and they just basically walk in and take people's stuff, and everybody else looking at them assumes that they are council workers or officials or whatever. Absolutely hilarious, that story, Henry. Oh, dear, oh, dear.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I did. I suppose I'd better show a video, hadn't I?
Yeah, okay. Well, it's been nice to speak to you.
It's been great. Do call again.
You're enjoying the show, and I'll speak to you again soon.
Yeah, look after yourself and keep your arms covered up.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, and you. Yeah. No short sleeve shirts at the moment.
No, absolutely. Far too cold for that anyway. Although if you've got the injection, you probably wouldn't know the difference. No. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. There we are. That was lovely Henry. Henry David Allen from Buckinghamshire. Just managing to sneak into the next county, although it's in the same thing, so it doesn't really matter. But lots of interesting issues there to talk about. And, of course, the comments are going mad. Elaine Whitlock says mangers are frightened of being sued. Oh, managers are frightened of being sued. Not mangers, away in a manger, because it's Christmas, it's all on one's head. I think the blue colour masks is actually fluoride, says Mike. That's a poison. Can you imagine if they put the vaccine into masks, we would have all been having it without us noticing. Unless, of course, like me, you happen to have a mask, which is in my pocket here. There, don't go anywhere without it. Made by lovely Helen, Julia's mum. Bit battered, this one now. It's got Mickey Mouse all over it. Mickey Mouse in his house pulling down his trousers. Quick, mum, smack his bum. Out goes number one, if I remember my kids used to sing. Mickey Mouse, because that's what I think of the whole thing. It's all a bit Mickey Mouse. That's a truism. Linda Kane says, I just carry on. Doesn't bother me for such a short term, a quiet life. And Vincent had said, take a look at the exemption information on the government website. You may well see that you wouldn't be lying at all. I'm not quite I've got into a middle of a conversation there, so I'm not quite sure what that was. But lovely anyway to speak to the wonderful Henry David Allen. And so, in the video corner tonight, we have two videos tonight. Do you remember lovely Gabriel from Glastonbury sent in that wonderful video about the bank? And we thoroughly enjoyed that and thought, what a great idea, taking the tune of Jerusalem and adding their own lyrics in order to make a point. Well, they go one better with this one. And I need Gabriel, if you're out there, to give us a ring afterwards, because I've got a big question about it. It's great, though. Watch this.
So, Black Horse, I hear you're leaving town. We don't need a bank in Glastonbury, huh? Only 27 customers, huh? And everyone's banking online these days. Well, let me show you something, sunshine. These are your customers, and they need a bank. Do you need a bank?
No need to sign the petition anymore. I believe they now have their nationwide. What an amazing, what an amazing film there, and great to see Glastonbury Gabriel as Clint Eastwood as the man with no name in that spaghetti western. Brilliant stuff. Give us a call, Gabriel. The number is, as you probably know, not that, 0793 4746 790. Be lovely to talk to you. I want to know where you got all those people from. I want to know, how did you manage to get that a massive queue? Was that a great call out for everybody? Or was there something else going along which you just happened to film at the same time? Give us a call. 0793 4746 790 is the number. Have you been involved in anything like that, a big protest? I'd love to know. And have you done it in an imaginative way? Let's find out from Glastonbury Gabriel. Hello, Glastonbury.
Evening all.
How are you, Gabriel?
Very well, thank you. Did you like that?
I loved it. I thought that was brilliant. How did you get the queue at the end?
Flash mob again.
It was. You just
got a flash mob.
We just said we want a queue, and people came out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the support in the town for what we were doing was like immense, and even on social media, nobody was saying, "Oh, that's rubbish," blah blah blah. Everybody was like, "Yeah, do it." So
that is incredible. That is. I mean,
it was good.
That is. And how long ago was that? 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, 2015. But I mean, it's all down to the team. I mean, there was 3 or 4 of us core people, and they, you know, 2 of them. One of them was an ex-bank manager or worked in a bank. Another one was a filmmaker. So the expertise we had in the group to do all this.
Yeah.
My only regret, I didn't have a steady cam back then for that pan up the street. It would have been better for a steady cam, but never mind.
Or a gimbal.
Gimbal.
Yeah,
Gimbal, yeah.
That would have been good. So the was the Lloyd's involved in sponsoring it?
No, good God, no. We were shaming Lloyd's.
Oh, you were
they
shaming?
Were having nothing to do with it. Yeah, no. And
oh, I see.
The door was in like an entranceway, and we just used it.
Yeah.
That was the actual Lloyd's Bank. That was the deputy mayor then, John Cousins. He later became the mayor. He walked in, and the office was actually the mayor's parlour. When you first see him stood outside the arch windows, that's the town hall, and the office is the mayor's parlour inside the town hall.
And did Lloyd's come back to you?
No, they just kept slaying on the usual platitudes. Oh, we're doing this for our customers, blah blah blah. Our surveys have shown, our customer surveys have shown this. They actually claimed they had 27 customers a week in that shop. We had independent people stood outside just in the lunch hour, 4 days on the trot, and each day didn't go below 90, just in the lunch hour.
Crikey.
So they were out and out lying. I mean, we were there with clickers and a board, asking, "Are you going in the bank?" And we'd actually ask when people who came out, "Do you mind if we ask, what did you do in the bank?"
And actually, they were telling us, I was paying a bill, I was withdrawing cash, I was sending money to Auntie Kitty, all that sort of stuff. And it was all the sorts of things that you couldn't have done in the post office. And the other thing was the lie, they were saying, you're doing the post office. But we're forgetting the fact that a lot of old people, like my mum, for example, doesn't trust. She won't do banking online.
No,
It's anathema to her.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Word.
They've banked.
I like that word.
It's a very good word. They've banked all their lives and with real people. I mean, I bet you there are still some people who think that when they put the money in the bank, it goes into a shoebox at the back with their name on it.
It probably does. Yeah, I mean, the really rich people, that's what they do, and they're called safe boxes.
Yes. No, but that's true, isn't it? They have all their stuff. We see it in the films, these heist films, where we know that people have put stuff in and then somebody else comes and steals it. So they were the last bank standing, and then they went, and then you were left on your own.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the shame was on them because we used to have NatWest, Midland, Lloyds, and Barclays. NatWest left first about a year earlier than this.
Right.
There was no noise of the other banks leaving. NatWest had pulled out. So I wouldn't say they're blameless because they're still closing branches, but they weren't part of this.
Yeah.
Then these all announced within a couple of weeks to each other that they're all going to be closing within a few weeks of each other.
It's incredible. It's an incredible story. But well done for Nationwide for coming in and thinking, well, wait a minute, there's money to be made here.
Yeah. But then as you saw at the end of the credits when it's coming up about all the platitudes that head of the bank have been talking about the community.
Yes.
When Barclays and when the Midland had gone and it was only Lloyds there, Lloyds could have turned around and said, you know what, you're right. We're not going to leave this town. Everybody else has gone. We've got a clean playing field. We can mop up. Bom, 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 bom. We can rinse the public. Dilly-dilly-do. We'll stay. They wouldn't even do that. Despite all their community pledges and all the other crap, they just want to retract it to city centres and run amusement arcades.
If I could deal without a bank, I would.
Oh, yeah, me too.
The banks have us over a barrel because we were all being pushed into this online system. And the more I think about it, the more you just think, well, surely there is a way that you could convert. I mean, I know there's Bitcoin and things like that, but you could convert your currency into something that you basically have an online account of, which you don't need a bank to actually hold the money and do anything.
Yeah, that kind of leads on. Can I branch down a completely different street? Run something else up your flagpole, see if you salute it.
Yeah, just hang on, wait 1 second, because I'm a bit tangled here and it's annoying me. So just hold on a second, because I'm going to do something not many people can do. I have unplugged my headphones so I can untangle them, but plugging it back in,
Good idea.
I never see where the prongs go. Where do the prongs go? Hang on a minute.
Left hand down a bit. Are you in yet, Mother?
There we go. Because these are DT100s. These are the pro headphones. Yeah. Anyway, so a Bayer. I think they're Bayer.
Yeah, they are Bayer.
Yeah.
I recognise them.
Yeah, lovely.
They've adorned many recording studios.
That's it. I bought these probably 10 years ago.
And that's the thing, they'll still be working in another 10 years' time.
Yeah, they're fantastic. The only thing that's going is the cushion a bit. But anyway, so go on. Fly up another flagpole.
No, actually, it was something you said earlier on about how we're going to put everything over onto the internet, and then we're talking about internet banking, and you alluded to the fact, what if the internet went away? And that is actually something quite scary, because over the last 5 or 10 years, we have given everything over to the internet. We have become totally subservient and dependent on it, to the point where if the internet was switched off tomorrow, society would descend into chaos within 48 hours. There'd be no fuel for cars, there'd be no food in the supermarkets, there'd be no electricity to light your house, there'd be nothing. Everything we know would stop. Your money would be gone, because your money is just a digit in a computer.
Yes.
It would all be gone. You would have nothing. And
How easy do you think it is to switch off the internet? Because it's a network of millions of computers. If you take out a couple of computers I mean, it's the wires, isn't it, really? It's the wires.
Yeah, but given, I mean, it was originally, it had a military background, because obviously it couldn't be taken out. But given that all the cyber hacking that's going on at government level around the world at the moment, and given how you could take over a country or a region or a continent just by turning its internet off, pretty much, you'd cripple it. You wouldn't even need to nuke it. You know, you'd walk in.
Yeah, but I'm still struggling with how you turn something that's made up of millions of computers, because the internet really is not a tangible thing, is it? Really, because it's a million. It's
you
just
take out that network. That's the thing.
But
you've got satellites up in the air. It's dependent on satellites. It's dependent on telecommunications. It's dependent on wires.
Yes, but
all couldn't be attacked.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it's just like the plumbing in a house to radiators, isn't it? You've got all the radiators and they've all got water in them and the water's moving around. Yeah. You could take out a radiator, but you could still just plumb from one radiator to another, and you could have all the other radiators working, because how would you...
That's a good analogy, because it depends whereabouts in that circuit of that radiator you let the water out. You let it out being the top radiator, you let it out where it comes out the boiler, no water goes anywhere. That's the point. It's a network that can be truncated at points. And you bet your bottom dollar, places like Russia and America and all these people who spend billions on all this sort of stuff are working on that. Because it's an easy way, isn't it?
Well, I would think that it's being protected, though. I mean, it's just like I mean, isn't it? I don't want to get into...
Imagine Talk have got a real heavy-duty cyber security department, as have all the other.
It depends what you mean by. It depends what you mean by taking it. I don't understand really. I suppose what you mean by taking it. How you mean just like throwing in a virus or switching electricity off? If you stopped everyone from generating electricity, then you'd have. I can see that, but as far as I'm aware, the internet is made up of billions of different computers, some of which are connected to bigger sources like Amazon and Google and all that. But ultimately, they're just wires going to computers. So you might
take out in half a second with an ENG bomb.
Yes, so you could do that, but then it's easy to put the wires back in, because they put them in there, not overnight, but it's not like you're doomed. Yes, everything would stop for a week, but look how they get power supplies back on bloody quickly. And
ENG is different because it actually fries components. It wouldn't be a case of replacing wires. It would be a case of data infrastructure had been destroyed totally by these ENG bombs, which sends out a pulse and it just fries everything. Now, a lot of the military stuff and the high-grade stuff is shielded, but everything else isn't. You can't imagine Morrison's have got, military-grade shielding on their PCs.
No, I'm sorry, I'm a bit slow, so I'm slowly getting what you mean by taking it. So what you're saying is effectively getting rid of the data that's on the hard drives.
Or the ability to access it.
Or the ability to access those hard drives.
Without that, you've got no petrol, you've got no fuel, you've got no electricity, you've got nothing.
Yeah, okay.
And that is where society falls over in 48 hours flat.
Yeah.
And that's when, before you could do anything about that, another country's come in. I mean,
when you say come in, what do you mean come in?
Well, if they wanted to walk in through the door, they could walk in through the door pretty much unopposed, couldn't they?
But
to have no infrastructure
to do what though? To come in what and repair it? You mean?
Well, to take over your country. Suddenly you got.
Well, wouldn't you? I mean, people would still be able to pick up an object and say, "Oi, you're not coming in."
Well, yeah, but I mean, okay, so they're coming over the beach where you live.
Yeah.
Who are you going to call? How are you going to call them?
Well, you probably wouldn't have. It doesn't make any difference if they're coming up the beach. It doesn't matter who you call. You know how late the police will be. You're going to say, "Well, what is it going on?"
Well, yeah, but you see what I mean? We are so dependent on this thing. If it falls over for whatever reason, we are just completely up the Swanee without a paddle, without a canoe even.
I suppose
it's kind of frightening the way we've gone to that position.
Yes.
In probably less than 10 years.
Yeah. Yes, and I think that I need to think about all of this because you made me quite frightened. But I don't put anything on.
Sorry.
Well, no, because I mean, individually, I don't put anything on the cloud. I don't store anything on these computers elsewhere, like Google Drive. I keep everything on my own hard drives because I always think that, there's a price to be paid by storing it somewhere else, even though it may be just your data they want, or they're going to charge you. And the minute you stop paying, they can delete your files, or if they get taken over or hacked or whatever, they can delete your files or get deleted. So I never store anything. The only thing I have to store is, because I have a PayPal account, is money. And if it's not on the PayPal account, it's in my traditional banking account, because it's difficult now to, where do you put it? Under the mattress?
Well, exactly. Exactly.
If
you run Hong Kong, that's what you do, apparently.
Well, I'm not surprised. You wouldn't want to. Who wants to live over there? Anyway, fantastic. I better play our last video of the day in, but interesting stuff. Thanks for showing us that video. That was amazing.
My pleasure.
And I'd like to see more. I'd like to see more of that sort of local, social, real people doing something instead of just, a Facebook moan.
Yeah, well, absolutely. It was brilliant. That for me. Two things came out of that. One, the group that was set up initially so that I wouldn't have to do it all myself became morphed into the Chamber of Commerce for Glastonbury.
Oh,
which was good.
Fantastic.
So okay. And then there was all this. It was like, because we just got into power. There was lots of Greens in the council. Where loads of It's a bit like when New Labour got in 2007, things can only get better and all that sort of thing. So there was a lot of public support for the council then and for this campaign. It was just nice getting everybody, the community coming together. That was, for me, the best part of it.
Yeah, no.
Anyway, I'm going to clear off now.
All right, have a nice clear. Lovely to talk to you. Thanks for sharing that wonderful story.
And my pleasure. You have a great evening.
Yeah, you too, mate. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. There we go. Wonderful Glastonbury Gabriel and his amazing bank story. If you've got a similar story that you've done locally, we'd love to know about it. Do send in your videos. And, of course, you can send in your videos to the old Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi at the Vobes Show. The information is in the description. But for those of you who can't be asked to have a look at that, you send it to me via wetransfer.com. All one word, wetransfer.com. It's a service. It's a free service. If you've got files under 2 gigabytes, please don't send anything larger. And don't send one of those EMPs, electric-magnetic pulse, to me. That would be very unfortunate. And then you send it via wetransfer.com to my email address, which is my name, richard@vobes.com. Very easy to remember. So, we are going to play our second and last video of the evening. It's a bit more poetry from Mike Stevens in Goring. But it's one that you may know. It's one of my favourite poems. And so it's by Lewis Carroll. Can you guess which one it is? Yep, it's that one.
Jabberwocky. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toads did go and gimble in the wave. Where the borrow grows, and the gnome rats outgrave. Beware the Jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the Jub bird and shun, the frumious bandersnatch. He took his vorpal sword in hand, long time the manxome foe he sought. So rested he by the tum-tum tree, and stood a while in thought. And as in uffish thought he stood, the Jabberwock, with eyes of flame, came whiffling through the tulgey wood, and burbled as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2, and through, the vorpal blade went snicker, snack. He left it dead, and with its head he went galumphing back. And hast thou slain the Jabberwock? Come to my arms, my beamish boy. Oh, frabjous joy, callooh, callay, he chortled in his joy. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toads did gyre and gimble in the wabe. Oh, Mimsy, where the bother grows, and the moon rats outgrabe.
There we go. That's Jabberwocky by Lewis Carroll, and what a marvellous piece of poetry that is. Very much like that. Thank you very much, Mike Stevens there, scaring us rigid at the end of tonight's show. Hope you have enjoyed the fun and games. It's been all good fun. And I'll be back again on Friday and doing it all over again, which would be great. Tomorrow, on the Board Explorer channel, I shall be in Rustington, which is very nice. Today I also received, not only did I receive this particularly lovely and rather wonderful bag, which is marvellous, hand stenciled by an artist pure and pure, Andrew Norris, but he also has sent me the puppets that he's been making. And we're going to be doing, when we're out of these tears and we've all been vaccinated to our eyeballs, we're going to be doing a reenactment of Walter Wilkinson and his trip to Sussex, Peep Show in Sussex, as he called it in his book, this amazing book. And we're going to recreate a scene from that with the puppets and a homemade booth, and I'm hoping that Andrew will be able to get over unvaccinated or vaccinated, his choice is his, and that we can do that in the new year, probably in the spring. But in the meantime, the box has arrived, so I'm going to make tomorrow, because it's going to be a wet, miserable day, and I'm not going to go out filming in that. I'm going to make an unboxing video, which will be available on Friday. An unboxing video and a talk about the project and a little bit about how Andrew made his puppets and things like that. So that's really what that is. So there we go. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me this evening. Do take care, look after yourselves. Make sure you don't get any fake vaccines. That'll be the next thing. We'll be hearing about people who will come knocking on your door, and for only £50, they can give you a vaccine. Don't take it up on them. They will be con men. How will you know that the right people are injecting the right thing into your body? The only way you will know is by not having it injected into your body at all. Thank you very much for being out there typing away. Thank you to the lovely Julia and Judith for moderating. To our wonderful people for sending in the videos, Gabriel and Mike. And to you for watching. And don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Very generous of you and very nice of you to do that. But from me in Worthing at 9-ish, just over, it's time to say arrivederci goodbye. So, ta-ta, have a good one, look after yourselves, and toodle pip.